Welcome back to The Line. One note before we get started. After we recorded that interview with Mayor Weber, the mayor announced plans to build a temporary box around the Plaza Obelisk and use it as a community art installation. All right, there's been so much happening that it's not hard, and it's maybe even tempting to forget about COVID-19. But the disease continues to circumscribe the boundaries of our daily lives, no matter how hard some try to ignore it. Cases in neighboring states like Arizona and Texas have ballooned beyond what's to be expected from more testing. We're talking with The Line ahead of a planned news conference by the governor, but regardless of what she says, New Mexico seems pinched. We can't control Texas or Arizona or Utah or any other states with ballooning cases near us. Is our biggest threat people from other states, or is our non-mask wearing, anxious to see family and friends selves the situation? Rachel, what's your thought on that?
All of the above. The reporting from some of the folks who have gone out and talked with, particularly tourists in Santa Fe, is really catching my eye. There's been a lot of tourists, particularly flooding into Santa Fe, not wearing masks. There have been some interesting interviews from different news organizations with them. There was one interview that I saw with a fellow who was here from Arizona. And when asked why he wasn't wearing a mask, he said, "It's optional in Arizona." And I mean, as a citizen of the world at this time in our history, basic responsibility, know what you got to do when you get there, wherever you're going, and do it. So seeing these surges of cases on both sides of New Mexico, in Texas and in Arizona is very concerning. And also, you're seeing people, human nature, ready to go out and move around. And it is really, it's really not time to just go wild out there. It seems like we have a long way to go, even to get through the first wave, let alone to face or deal with a second wave.
Good point. Hey, Rachel, staying with you for a quick second on this. Businesses, of course, are bearing the brunt of this. Frontline employees are absolutely bearing the brunt of this, having to tell people to put a mask on and getting accosted when they're, the whole thing. But it seems that, for this next little period of time, perhaps retailers and others are going to have to really step up their game a little bit, because there has been a little bit of slippage when you go into retail places about who's wearing masks. You see what I mean? Everyone's sort of slipping just a little bit here and there. What's your sense of that as well for business owners?
Yeah, that's a tough one. Of course, we have a mask mandate here. If we're out in public, we need to be wearing them. So businesses that are open right now, that's very much a responsibility that they're facing. At the same time, business owners are seeing reports all over the country where in businesses where an employee tries to enforce that with certain customers, there have been customers who've gotten violent. So now on top of dealing with, staying open during a pandemic, sanitizing every 5 minutes, all of the things that you have to do to operate a business right now that are different from 3 months ago, you're worried about your own employees' safety. So that is a tough line to walk.
Yeah. Hey, Serge, when you think about it, bars, movie theaters, bowling alleys, the list is long. This is serious business. If we're not going to participate in keeping ourselves and our fellow, citizens healthy, where does that put the governor in the choices she has to make?
Yeah, I don't envy those choices, but I think her message, I've actually thought was reasonably effective in saying, look, this is not just my decision. This is all, what happens depends on how New Mexicans respond to this situation and how we decide to stay home, to wear masks, to do whatever. But last time I was on, we talked about sort of the question of, are there winners, are there losers, and how are they being chosen here, right? And no matter what the science says, no matter what the public health folks say, this will be perceived as, I choose to anoint this industry and choose to, condemn this industry and consign them to really rough times. And I think, I am not, and I don't wish I could switch places with her on those particular points, but I do think it is really important to not listen to that, the voices of, you're playing favorites, when what we really need to do is focus on science, focus on the public health recommendations, and really be clear on why we're doing this and the value of taking a few hits now, massive, major, unbelievable hits now, so it's not worse or prolonged or whatever down the road.
Yeah.
And so I push back against, this industry is the winner and this industry is the loser. It's bad. It's bad all around, but unfortunately, these aren't. It's not a popularity contest.
That's right. And everyone sees it their own way on who should be allowed. That's for sure. We're all human that way. Merritt, interestingly, the big news of the week is the Public Education Department released their plans for going back to school. It's a hybrid model. Instructions, by August 1st, split students into two groups, alternate instructions between in-school and remote learning. And if I have this right, Wednesdays are closed for cleaning. What's your initial thought on the school plan as you read it?
I see it highly problematic for a number of reasons. First of all, Portales is not Albuquerque and Clayton is not Gallup. So you have different threat levels in different counties and different districts. Secondly, remote learning is not equitable in our state because of the lack of broadband. Right. And so rural communities are going to basically lose a day of schooling. What that also means is parents are going to lose a day of work. And I think it's going to really impact women in the workforce who, by habit, by preference, by culture, tend to be the primary caregivers. And this is going to hurt women's participation in the workforce. And as a couple of my teacher friends have said, how in the heck are you going to keep a mask on a kindergartner?
That's going to be interesting to see. There's no doubt on that. Rachel, interestingly, teachers and staff, I'm hearing from a lot of teachers and staff, and they are nervous. They are really looking at this going, I'm being exposed to two different groups here.
Right.
It's going to be really problematic. What can PED and the governor, everybody in APS or anybody else say to a frontline staff person at this point to make them feel better about it?
Oh, there's just so many difficult quandaries with this plan and this effort. And I do wonder if ultimately, as we get closer, because there's a lot of time between now and August 12th, if this plan might change and if there might be a need to even at some point go totally remote again, at least for a period of time. A couple of things that I think about with this. One, I think that a lot of work and creativity had to go into even addressing this plan. So that's definitely something to keep in mind. Two, we already have had a finding in court that we're not meeting the needs of all of our students and giving them a fair education, particularly our students of color, students from low-income families. So if that's not happening when they're in the classroom, it's hard to imagine how that is going to work in this kind of hybrid learning world. So that's definitely a big concern right now.
Good point there. Serge, what have we learned about distance learning here in New Mexico during this first part of this pandemic? Are we... Obviously, it's not optimal. We know that. Merritt made a good point. We don't have broadband everywhere, but have we learned something about how we do distance learning here so far?
In terms of access, there's a whole host of other issues, as Merritt raised, but in terms of its effectiveness, I think the primary lesson we've learned is we need to learn how to do it. The data that I've seen suggests that it wasn't particularly effective, and that's not surprising when all of a sudden we took everybody who's been trained to do in-person learning and said, now you're a distance teacher. And now to students, you're a distance learner. Here at the law school, we treated the last couple of months of our semester as just trying to get through this rough situation, and everybody was doing what they could. But now, as we approach a new semester coming up in the fall, when we're all going to be back here, my colleagues and I think have realized we really need to figure out how to do this if we're going to be effective. And there are so many. It's a very different ballgame in terms of the actual pedagogy, as well as the technology, the access, the content and whatnot. Mm-hmm. It's a huge left turn, and all the data, like I said, that I've seen suggests we weren't particularly effective at it as educators at the end of the last school year. Maybe over the summer we can all up our game and figure out how to do it, or get the resources needed to be able to be effective at it.
The magic R word, resources. That's right. It's going to cost money to fix this, but it's no joke. I mean, we're staring at a situation where underserved and kids who don't come from families, in other words, who have all the things you need, broadband, caring parents who might be educated themselves, we could be in a situation we've got an entire school year sort of lost for some of our students, and that's really not a good situation for any of us.